here we are, coming off of the biggest video on the channel, delving into our next exciting character analysis. The iron's hot, so I should strike big, tackle a super popular character to really cash in on those sweet, sexy YouTube bucks. But who? I could tackle Lit. No, wait, Gas has already done that one. I like Gregor. No, wait, Mang's tackled him. Damn it, that's the problem with coming into this scene late. All the good stuff's been done already. Oh, wait, I know. Horace! I'm sure people are bursting at the seams demanding Horace content. He's practically a series icon. Now, I'm sure a lot of you saw the thumbnail, clicked on this video, and went, who the fuck is Horace? And that is an excellent question. He's one of the characters Shadow Dragon added in for its guidance chapters. You know, the ones nobody played because you had to turn your army into a graveyard just to unlock them. To be specific, he comes in on chapter 12X if you have 15 or less characters alive. Which, sure, I might not give a shit about Mathis, but are you telling me to go on living without Dolph? Nah, no way, I cannot do it. But for those who are willing to make the incredibly difficult sacrifice, you'll get a kick-ass chapter with an amazing character. The setup is simple, taking place after Marth recaptures Arcanea for Naya, and details him taking back the territory of the kingdom to the west, which is a pretty clever place to slap in new content if you ask me. Now, it's noted that a knight named Horace has stood in strong opposition to Marth's forces, and though Nina doesn't understand why a once proud knight like Horace is bending to the knee of DeLuna, she eventually sends Marth to sniff out Horace's rebellion. However, right from his very first scene, it's pretty obvious he doesn't want to do what he's doing. He's shown conversing with the chapter boss, DeJourno. DeJourno readies his forces to fight, and Horace seems very hesitant to go along with it, causing DeJourno to threaten Horace's people should he not fight against Marth. Horace really doesn't have a way to fight this, so he begrudgingly agrees to go out and take a stance against Marth. But immediately from the first turn, things don't seem all that right. The visitable villages in the map all speak in Horace's defense. They remark about how he submitted to the enemy purely to protect his people from them, and he bears no ill will towards Nina and Marth. So, we've seen this kind of thing before. When you see him on the battlefield, you see an easy recruitment requirement. Go talk to him with Marth and tell him to calm the hell down. We've done this before and we'll do it again. But when you try to speak to him, you'll find that things aren't going to go as easily as you thought. Marth attempts to get him to surrender, but Horace has only one thing he needs to make sure of, Nina's safety. Once he knows that she's in good hands, he tells Marth to ready his sword for battle. Horace believes that he has made his choice and that he must abide by it to the death. Not even Kaida can talk to him to get to him to stop, and if she can't recruit someone, there is no salvation for them. So let's say you do that. You fight Horace, you kill him, and then you finish the chapter. Marth reports his victory to Nina, and she remarks that she is positive that Horace didn't wish to betray Arcanea. Marth agrees, correctly guessing that DeJourno threatened the people, so that forced Horace into submission. The two then name-drop the chapter title, stating, and I quote, "He acted to save lives, yet the world will brand him a traitor. That one word will come to define him, and none will ever know the traitor's worth." In this sense, the traitor's worth is defined as the worth in sticking to your choices to the very end, remaining true to yourself and lying in the bed that you have made. Horace committed a grave sin that cannot be denied, but that sin does hold a worth that people looking in from the outside might not fully understand. But Horace doesn't care about that. As long as his people were safe and protected, they were free to call him whatever they wanted. But, despite Horace's best efforts to kill himself, we can be the suicide prevention hotline and stop him from getting himself killed, by deploying the tried and true legendary technique of just walking around him. Yeah, he doesn't actually move from his position, so you can just sort of leave him alone. He won't fuck with you if you don't fuck with him, so leave him be and go kill DeJourno for yourself. He will then order his men to lay down their arms, and he'll say that the last casualty of this battle shall be his own. But as Horace attempts to convince Marth to grant him a knight's death, a villager runs to his defense, and tells Marth what the other villagers have been telling him this entire goddamn time, that Horace is a good man and only did what he did to protect his people. Horace shoos the villager away, saying he will not dress up his sins as kindness, that he is still a war criminal, and he should be put to the death for the betrayal to his kingdom. However, while Horace will not be convinced by Marth or by generic villager portrait number 12, 9 is the only one capable of giving him the verbal bitch slap he so desperately needs. 9 remarks that there's nothing to gain by him throwing his life away like this. All the shame of the sin he committed will simply be passed on to the knights who fought with him. All he's doing by demanding a knight's death is just running away from the repercussions of his own actions. In this, she says she will not give him a knight's death, but instead a traitor's life. She says that he must show her a traitor's worth. He will move on with his life, and do better for queen and country. Here, the traitor's worth is defined as a sinner's ability to move on with their lives, and work to amend the mistakes of their past and create a better future. And that's the magic of Horace. The traitor's worth is defined as two different things depending on the angle the chapter is looked at. On the one hand, the traitor's worth is the value in your sins and what it means to stick by your decisions to the very end. But on the other hand, the traitor's worth is defined as the ability to move on and start life anew, not forgetting your mistakes, but living on in spite of them. It's a message of duality that truly understands Fire Emblem 1's themes of both the light and dark of war. So, alright, Horace tells an amazing story, but what about the unit of Horace? Well, he's not worth killing your entire fucking army, that's for sure. Now, in comparison to the other armor knights, his stat line possesses a noteworthy advantage in strength and skill, but he's relatively comparable everywhere else. But that lack of speed especially hurts him. His growth rates, too, are completely abysmal, so you can't even hope for potential from level ups or reclassing. His base 17 defense is tanky enough for a while, but without some serious luck, you ain't taking him to the endgame. But hey, he makes a comeback in New Mystery, and it's a big old Uno reverse card of his appearance in Shadow Dragon. His story and character are significantly less interesting, but his quality of a unit has increased very well. Though that's more so by comparison. He's still not that good, it's just, well, pretty much everyone in Fire Emblem 12 is bad. Story-wise, Horace comes in on the guide in Chapter 10X, but he's hardly that important on it. His chapter is the send-off for Legion, and more of the chapter focuses on Katarina and the Assassins than Horace. While that's definitely for the better, as the Assassin subplot is the only part of FE12's story that justifies Chris's existence, it's clear Horace is just here because they couldn't throw him in FE3's story naturally, so they figured they could slap him onto the new shit much easier. Now, unit-wise, he comes in at the same level as he did in Shadow Dragon, but comes in a whole 2 chapters earlier and with better base stats. He loses a whopping 1 point of skill and gains 2 points of speed and health. All in all, a real worthwhile trade if you ask me. He also goes from having abysmal growths in everything but a passable skill and defense, to amazing strength, health, skill, and defense, and a passable speed and luck. He also, upon beating the game and replaying, gains access to reclassing into the vastly more useful Dragon Rider class, and since he already has lances in his base class, he doesn't have to raise a weapon rank from the ground up, which is normally a rough patch for all you filthy reclassers. He can work, but issue is a ton of Fire Emblem 12's roster is just flat out garbage, potentially more so than any other Fire Emblem. He doesn't really stand out because he's particularly amazing. Even with the advantages I listed, he still isn't all that impressive. He's just in a game where everyone is terrible. Like, put him next to Mathis and who are you picking? Like, come on. And so, that just about wraps up Horace. It's very clear that the writers had a great self-contained story for him in Shadow Dragon and then had absolutely no idea what to do with him when he came back. But even still, I adore him for his appearance in Shadow Dragon alone. He's hands down my favorite Arcanea character, and if he isn't yours, he will be soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe. Or don't, I make memes, I'm not a cop. For the next episode, I think we'll shy away from all the good guys and finally take on a villain. And I think that villain should be good old Papa Smurf. So until next time...
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.